Because remember, your soul is the one we're fighting for. Okay? And we need your help to make that decision. We don't want you to perish. You don't need to perish. And many of you are being deceived by a lot of these false doctrines. Our Father has said that He is going to establish His kingdom here on earth, not somewhere in the atmosphere like some of these people teach, of a flying away. Okay, and I got a study coming here soon, like I said. I'm putting it together here. But anyway, let's continue this. Okay, I'm going to reread verse 11. And that ye study to be quiet and do your own business, and to work with your own hands as we commanded you. In other words, don't be lazy either, Get yourself a job, be quiet, listen to the Father's word, and when your time comes that you are to teach this word, you teach it. And that'll be around when you're about, like 60, 65, okay? If God gives you the grace to live that long. Verse 12. That ye may walk honestly toward them that are without. In other words, those that don't understand, those that don't have, those that don't know. And that ye may have lack of nothing. This way you have lack of anything for when? For when you go out and teach that word. I mean, as you're a youngster, you put in that work, save up your funds, for when you retire, you can go out and teach this word, and you won't have lack of anything. See? God has a plan. 13. But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren. Now let me ask you something. Are you ignorant? Because that's what he's asking here. Are you ignorant? Concerning them which are asleep. Now let me ask you something. Are you ignorant concerning them which have died? Are you ignorant of that? That's what he's asking. Okay? That ye sorrow not. In other words, don't cry over them. Why? I mean, come on, let's really think about this. In the spiritual sense, if they have not passed on, if they have not died, then why would you sorrow? See? So think about that for a moment. Even as others which have no hope. I mean, do you have hope or do you have no hope? Now let me ask you one simple question. Do you believe that Jesus rose from the dead? I mean, because there are many that don't. They don't believe that Jesus rose from the dead. In fact, some don't even believe that Jesus even existed. Even though He is their creator, they don't believe He existed. They don't believe He exists. And you know what? You can't blame them for it, because there's a lot of fake preachers teaching a lot of falsehoods, and they turn the people away. I'd hate to be in their situation when the time comes in that day of judgment, because judgment starts at the pulpit. In other words, judgment's going to start with me here. Yeah. So anything that I lied to you about, I'm going to pay the price for it. And guess what? You'll be declared innocent of that. Okay? So I'm willing to take the blame for any falsehoods that I have taught you, because they were not intentional if I did. I mean, I don't remember ever doing it, but if I ever do, it was not intentional, and you will not pay any consequence for it. I will, because judgment starts at the pulpit with those that bring the word of God to you. Continuing. Verse 14. For if we believe, now think about it, do you believe that Jesus died and rose again? Now let me ask you again. Do you believe that Jesus died and rose again? That's the question. Even so them. Okay, them who? Them who have died, which sleep in Jesus, will God bring with Him. In other words, if those people that have passed on believe in Jesus Christ, they go with Him. In other words, where they are, where he is, where all of them are. In other words, they're not in the hole in the ground waiting for the Lord's return. You just read it right here. Okay, continuing. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord. In other words, this is now by word of the Lord, that we which are alive. In other words, this. Remember, if Jesus rose from the dead and those that have died in him are already gone, okay, they're already gone. Okay, so now me and you, which are here, we are alive still. Okay, here, in the flesh, in this earth age. Okay, and remain unto the coming of the Lord. In other words, if you and I are still here at the time that the Lord returns, at the seventh trump, okay, those that have died in Jesus that are already with him, listen, that are already with him, because if you believe that Jesus rose from the dead, then you have to believe that those that are asleep in him or that have died in him, God has brought with him. Now, I don't know how to emphasize that any more or any clearer, but there is no rapture, okay? You're already with him, like it's written in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, around there, verses 6 and 7, when the silver cord parts. In other words, when you die, instantly your body returns to the dust where it came from, and your spirit, the intellect of your soul, and meaning you, go right back to the Father who gave it. That's instantly, like it's written in the New Testament. Absent from this body, meaning when you die, you're present with the Lord, meaning you're with him, like these who have died are with him. Okay? It says, and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep. In other words, you, me and you who are alive right here, we cannot get ahead, okay, of those that have died. Why? Because they're already there. They're already gone. There was no rapture. Okay? They're already there. Now, I don't know, like I said, I don't know how much more clear to get this. Okay? There are many out there that have been deceived, that have been conned, have been tricked, have been lied to, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, that they're out here in a hole in the ground, and when the Lord returns, that the ground is going to open, they're going to go first, and then us who are alive, we're going to follow them after them. We're all going to be caught up flying into the atmosphere. And we don't even know where. We're just going to fly in the atmosphere, because at that moment and that time, Jesus is coming to earth with the saints on top of that. So where are you guys going in the rapture? Huh? Because the Lord is returning to earth to establish his kingdom. You know, have you ever heard of it? You know, Jesus Christ, Lord of Lords, you know, King of Kings. You know, he's going to reign here. And his kingdom is going to be established forever. Huh? Once and for all. So those of you that are going to leave in a rapture, well, you guys have a good trip. And, well, if you guys get to a U-turn sign over there anywhere, you better turn. Okay? You better turn, because that flight that you're taking is taking you down into the abyss. And I hate to tell you that. But you know what? You have the mark of the beast as of now. Yes, you do. If you believe in a rapture, you have the mark in your forehead. If you are teaching the rapture, all you preachers out there teaching that lie, teaching that deception, you have the mark in the right hand. Huh? Think about it. Those of you who are real, true lovers of the Father, think about it if you're teaching that doctrine, because that doctrine is going to send you right to hell. Huh? That's how many Christians are beheaded. Think about it. Verse 16. For the Lord himself shall descend, okay, from heaven. Okay, now let me clarify that. For the Lord himself shall descend. Now that means come down. Did you hear that? It says come down, descend, come down. Okay, from heaven. Okay, now let me break this down a little bit of this word descend. Okay, because that has a lot to do with these next few couple of verses we have left and words that we're gonna teach here. It's very important that we break this down so that you can understand, because as many know and many don't know, you know, there were guys that translated this word that were not even believers, okay? And they did their best. I mean, they weren't intentionally trying to deceive you, but they did their best to do the translating, and well, they got some of the things that might quite not be correct. And but we, with God's knowledge and understanding and using common sense, we can pretty much put the puzzles together. It's really not that difficult. But a lot of these preachers have made this so difficult that they want you to get confused. And that's their purpose. That's their reason, is to confuse you. But we're going to clarify that confusion right here real quick. So, for the Lord himself shall descend. Okay. Now, let's go to Acts. And we're going to go to Acts chapter 1. And we're going to read a couple of verses there, kind of just to kind of break this down and clarify a little bit of this, you know, because this does need clarifying, because many have been deceived by this chapter, by preachers teaching this chapter, you know, pastors and whatnot, you know, out there. And this deception is very dangerous because it puts you in the arms of Satan. You know what I mean? You have the mark if you're believing this lie. Now, the physical mark, well, there is no physical mark. But when Satan shows up and you believe that he is Christ, well, guess what? You got the mark at that moment. Okay? And what all I'm trying to do is prevent you from marking yourself all up with this beast. Okay? So, with that, we're going to read a couple of verses here in Acts. We're going to go to Acts chapter 1, and let's go down to verse 9. And we're going to pick it up there at verse 9. And it reads, And when he had spoken these things, in other words, Paul had been speaking about these things, you know. Jesus had just appeared to many, you know. He had just rose from the dead. He had appeared to many. He was out 40 days, you know, walking about. Over 500 witnesses had seen him walking about. And Jesus had just told them all that, you know, they should just hang around there because they all wanted to disperse because they were being persecuted. You know, some were being beheaded and different things like that. And so Jesus had told them, you know, just hang on a little bit, you know, because I'm sending the Comforter. Okay? And so, and when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up. In other words, Jesus was taken up. Okay? And a cloud received him out of their sight. In other words, he was taken up out of their sight. Okay? And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel. In other words, we have two guys, two angels, two messengers that are standing amongst them, and you know, as Jesus is being taken up in a cloud. Now I can go a little further. Now this will be another study for another time, but you know, Jesus was taken up in a vehicle, so that people don't think that he just you know, walked on a cloud and just took off or something like that. You know, the vehicle was in the cloud, as it's written in Ezekiel and what Elijah saw and many others, you know. And so it was a vehicle, so Jesus was taken up in a vehicle. And I know some are going to say, what the heck you talking about? Well, it is written, and just as he went is the way you will see him come. Now, but I want you to be warned first that Satan comes first, okay? And Satan comes in the same way that Jesus is going to return. That's the deception, okay? And the deception is because many didn't want to take the time to study our Father's Word. And so when He comes pretending to be Jesus, coming the way He came, and well, He's going to deceive many. Many are going to think it's Jesus. Many are going to believe that He's come to rapture them away. And many are even going to have their families be taken, delivered up to them, because, why? They don't believe it's Him. See? And those are God's elect. They don't believe that that's Him. Why? Because it's written, Satan comes pretending to be Jesus in the sixth trump. The true Jesus comes in the seventh trump. Do you know that 6 comes before 7? I hope you do. I hope you're starting to see the picture, because there is a deception going around, and it's a big lie, and it's going to get you in big trouble. Verse 11, which also said, in other words, this is what these two said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? In other words, why are you guys looking up? I mean, you guys saw Him go up. Why are you guys standing there? This same Jesus, which is taken up from you into heaven, in other words, you've seen Him leave, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen Him go into heaven. In other words, the way you've seen Him leave, that's the way you're going to see Him return. And so with that, and then they return, they unto Jerusalem from the Mount of Olives, because that's where He will show up, which is from Jerusalem, a Sabbath day's journey, which means it's about maybe roughly half a mile away. I mean, you couldn't really go that far in those days. That's why Jesus said in Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21, woe unto them that are with child, and those that give suck in those days. Why? Because you're supposed to flee Jerusalem when Satan shows up there pretending to be Jesus. That's what you're supposed to do. But you know what many are going to do? They're going to cause the Armageddon. The Armageddon.